Many people assume the Rothschilds are the wealthiest dynasty in history. But what if the truth is that quietly, behind closed boardroom doors in Germany, there is a family that holds even more power, controlling industries, governments, and global markets, while the world barely notices? From coffee empires to luxury car kingdoms, stay with us until the end, because the final family may leave you speechless. The Hertz family, coffee to skincare empire. People say fortune favors the bold, but in post-war Germany, it favored the caffeinated. Max Hertz did not begin with billions. He began with a war-torn country, a coffee roaster, and a vision: deliver freshly ground beans directly to households during a period when quality coffee was still a luxury. It was never only about caffeine. It was about restoring a sense of normalcy, comfort, and taste to a population that had lost almost everything. His company, Chibo, started modestly mailing roasted beans to households across Germany. But what looked like a small idea, coffee by post, grew into a retail empire. Chibo soon became known in households, known not just for coffee, but for selling everything from clothes to electronics through its catalog style or rotating inventory. In essence, Max Hertz turned a simple beverage into a complete lifestyle brand. But here is where the story becomes even more interesting. The Hertz family did not end with coffee. While Chibo's branding became a fixture of German life, they quietly acquired a significant stake in Beiersdorf, the powerhouse behind Nivea, one of the world's most trusted skincare brands. That move, once considered unusual, proved to be brilliant. Beiersdorf today is worth over $25 billion, with Nivea products found in over 200 countries. The Hertz family's stake alone helped balloon their total fortune to an estimated $7.9 billion. Unlike other billionaire families that pursue headlines, the Hertz dynasty operates best in silence. They do not show off private jets or mega yachts. Instead, they embed themselves into everyday life: your coffee, your skincare, your home goods, all while staying away from the glare of public scrutiny. That is their power. Invisibility backed by omnipresence. But the path has not always been smooth. The family's business divisions once led to internal disputes, with siblings splitting control between coffee and cosmetics. Yet even these challenges were handled quietly with a level of discretion rare among billionaire dynasties. It is a lesson in control, restraint, and long-game thinking. Today, the Hertz name is not displayed on luxury skyscrapers or tech startups. Instead, it is tucked away in the corner of a Nivea label or the fine print of a Chibo ad. And yet, their influence extends across generations and continents. Comment below if you have ever used a Nivea product or seen a Chibo ad and had no idea it was part of a multi-billion-dollar empire. It is a reminder that sometimes the quietest empires are the most powerful, and the ones you never see coming are the ones that shape your everyday life. The Otto family, e-commerce visionaries. In the glamorous world of billionaire dynasties, the Otto family does more than sell products. They sell a vision of the future. Long before Amazon ever dreamt of Prime, a quiet revolution was already taking shape in post-war Germany. Werner Otto, a former real estate developer, launched a modest mail-order company from his Hamburg apartment in 1949. His first catalog, just 4 pages, offering shoes. But from that modest beginning grew one of the most visionary retail empires in history. Over the years, the Otto Group transformed catalogs into commerce and then into e-commerce. While most retailers clung to brick and mortar, Werner's son, Michael Otto, placed a major bet on technology. In the early 1990s, when the world was still dialing up the internet, the Otto Group invested heavily in digital infrastructure, pioneering online retail experiences. While Jeff Bezos was still in his garage, the Ottos were already building the rails for e-commerce in Europe. But their brilliance is not just in timing, it is in values. Otto Group built sustainability into their business model before it became fashionable. They implemented eco-friendly packaging, carbon reduction strategies, and ethical sourcing decades before regulators even asked. In a time when many billionaire companies squeeze workers, Otto placed even greater emphasis on employee care, promoting inclusive leadership, profit sharing, and work-life balance across their 50,000-plus workforce. And it has paid off in a major way. Today, the Otto family controls an empire valued at approximately $4 billion, with subsidiaries spanning fashion, furniture, fintech, and logistics. And yet they remain mostly unknown to the broader public. No loud headlines, no billion-dollar space rockets, just quiet, methodical innovation. What makes their story even more compelling is how they've handed the torch onward. Michael Otto did not just build a business. He raised a new generation of leadership committed to both profit and purpose. Their private foundation, the Aid by Trade Foundation, helps small cotton farmers enter global markets. It is philanthropy done like business, measured, scalable, and enduring. You see, the Otto dynasty is not obsessed with hype. They are obsessed with legacy. And that is the kind of wealth that does not vanish in a stock crash. Comment Otto knew before Bezos if you are surprised someone else built e-commerce before Amazon ever clicked add to cart. Because sometimes the most powerful stories aren't told in Silicon Valley. They are written in the margins of history by families who dared to bet on the future before the world even knew it was coming. The Merkel family, from crisis to cemented success. In the early 1950s, southern Germany was rebuilding at a speed planners could barely match with concrete. And a young entrepreneur named Ludwig Merkel saw opportunity both in construction dust and in medicine. He invested in a small regional cement mill to feed the nation's construction boom, then quietly purchased a struggling pharmaceutical laboratory that specialized in generic painkillers. His friends called him unfocused. Ludwig saw it as hedging. Cement would profit in boom times medicine in every other season. By the late 1980s, the Merkel Group had become a two-headed powerhouse, one division producing millions of tons of clinker each year, the other exporting antibiotics across Europe and Africa. Revenue streams moved in opposite economic cycles, shielding the family against downturns. The strategy seemed bulletproof until 2008. During the feverish months before the financial crisis, Ludwig's grandson, Harald, made a daring bet in the stock market. Believing Volkswagen shares were overvalued, he short-sold aggressively. Instead, Porsche launched a secret takeover attempt. VW stock exploded, and the Merkel Group's trading desk lost more than €2 billion in 48 hours. Lenders closed in, board members began to panic, and German newspapers predicted a dynasty's collapse. What came next is why the Merkels remain important. Harald convened a midnight meeting inside the company's research campus. There, he authorized the immediate sale of a non-core plastic subsidiary, bringing in quick liquidity. More controversially still, he ordered the pharmaceutical arm to shelve several mediocre drug projects and gamble on an experimental oncology compound just entering Phase 1 trials. The cement division, meanwhile, accelerated entry into low-carbon geopolymer blends, a niche most competitors dismissed as academic. Within 3 years, the oncology drug received conditional approval, becoming a blockbuster therapy across European Union hospitals. Simultaneously, demand for greener construction materials surged, and Merkel Cement's early patents positioned it as a premium supplier to mega projects in the Middle East. The group not only repaid its crisis debt, but reported record earnings, restoring family wealth to an estimated $9.4 billion. Today, the Merkels operate through a web of private trusts headquartered in Munich, Zurich, and Singapore. Their pharmaceutical pipeline includes messenger RNA-adjacent vaccines, while their cement kilns run on recycled biomass and captured carbon dioxide. Shareholder letters reference anti-fragility systems that gain from shock-echoing lessons burned into memory by the Volkswagen fiasco. The dynasty's public image remains deliberately minimal. No social media airs, no gold-plated yachts. Annual reports feature lab technicians and quarry engineers rather than family portraits. Yet behind that discretion lies a blueprint. Diversify across economic rhythms, innovate ahead of regulation, and when catastrophe hits, pivot so hard the market never sees the same angle twice. In a business culture obsessed with meteoric rises, the Merkels remind us that endurance, tempered by error, calibrated by science, can outlast flashier fortunes, turning near disaster into the strongest cement of all. The Riemann family, owning everyday luxury. They do not own a tech empire. They do not build cars or rockets. But the Riemann family quietly dominates something much more personal: your daily habits. Just think about it. That morning espresso from Peet's Coffee, the glazed donut you did not plan on grabbing a Krispy Kreme, a quick pret-a-manger sandwich between meetings. All of them strategically placed within your routine are part of the Riemann family's empire, orchestrated through their investment vehicle, JAB Holding Company. This is not old money aristocracy. The Riemanns, who control an estimated $22 billion fortune, did not inherit palaces. They built their wealth by mastering what others ignored: comfort. With precise strategy, they acquired brands that blend indulgence and familiarity, then scaled them globally while keeping the experience consistent and premium. But the origin of their empire was far less sweet. The family fortune began in chemicals and industrial investments. It was only in the early 2000s that they pivoted toward consumer brands. Their approach: acquire iconic names, avoid changing what already works, and grow like a venture-backed startup with none of the chaos. Under JAB Holding, they acquired Peet's Coffee and Caribou, later merging them into a coffee powerhouse. Then came Pret-a-Manger, known for its fresh, fast fare in Europe's financial hubs. But it was the Krispy Kreme acquisition that made headlines, especially when they took it public again, commanding a valuation in the billions. Still, not everything about the Riemanns has been bright and sweet. In recent years, investigative journalists uncovered ties between the family's industrial fortune and forced labor practices during World War II. Instead of avoiding the controversy, the Riemanns issued an unusual public apology, commissioned an independent historical investigation, and pledged over $11 million in reparative donations. That response shocked many in the elite business world. It was not just public relations, it was carefully measured accountability, a move to protect both legacy and future returns. It also reflected how modern dynasties are evolving, not just owning brands, but shaping narratives. Today, the Riemanns continue to expand JAB's portfolio, now adding wellness supplements, pet care, and even dental chains. Their strategy remains clear: command the rituals of daily life, one premium experience at a time. And in a world where tech empires rise and fall with headlines, the Riemann model proves that quietly owning your cravings and making billions from them might be the most powerful strategy of all. The Strungman twins, billionaires from biotech. They are not celebrities. You will not see them at red carpet events or quoted in business magazines. But Thomas and Andreas Strungman, twin brothers from Germany, have reshaped the global healthcare landscape from the background, building a biotech empire that quietly outpaced many Silicon Valley fortunes. Everything began with generics. In the 1980s, the Strungmans founded Hexal, a pharmaceutical company that focused on producing affordable generic medicines. While the world obsessed over brand names, they targeted scale, efficiency, and distribution. That strategy paid off. In 2005, they sold Hexal and their stake in Eon Labs to Novartis for a combined $7.5 billion, a strategic exit that positioned them for something even bigger. What came next was a bold reinvention. Instead of retiring comfortably, the twins pivoted to the cutting edge of biotech. They co-founded Athos, a private investment firm focused on health innovation. One of their earliest and most significant bets, a then little-known startup called BioNTech. Long before the world heard of messenger RNA vaccines, the Strungmans had quietly become BioNTech's principal backers. They provided not just capital, but steady long-term support, years before the company's technology would become central to a global pandemic response. Their patient approach, rarely seen in the high-risk world of biotech, turned out to be visionary. In 2020, as COVID-19 swept across continents, BioNTech, in collaboration with Pfizer, delivered the world's first approved messenger RNA vaccine. The brothers' stake in the company rose sharply in value, pushing their combined net worth to $22.6 billion. But money was never their only motive. For them, science, impact, and sustainable progress have always been at the core. What makes the Strungmans especially distinctive is their philosophy. They reject the quarterly pressure of public markets. Instead, they believe in decades-long horizons, allowing scientists the time needed to solve problems at a molecular level. Their backing has helped incubate breakthroughs not just in infectious diseases, but also in cancer, immunotherapy, rare genetic disorders, and neurological conditions. Unlike typical venture capitalists who seek quick exits, the twins are stewards of progress. They stay in the background, giving researchers the room to change the world quietly, steadily, effectively. Today, their empire includes stakes in several biotech firms, research institutes, and academic partnerships. But their influence cannot be measured only by holdings. It is in the labs they've built, the science they've funded, and the lives saved as a result. In an age of loud billionaires chasing rockets and headlines, the Strungman twins prove that you do not need a spotlight to make history. Just vision, patience, and relentless commitment to something bigger than yourself. The Schaeffler family, invisible powerhouses. They are not the names spread across luxury magazines or tech headlines. But without the Schaeffler family, much of the world's most advanced machinery would simply not operate. Operating from the background, this German dynasty built a $25 billion empire, making the invisible components that drive global industry from aerospace to electric vehicles. It all started in 1946, when brothers Wilhelm and Georg Schaeffler launched their small manufacturing business in post-war Germany. Their breakthrough arrived just a few years later. A revolutionary needle roller bearing that dramatically improved the performance of engines and gearboxes. This was not showy innovation. It was precise, essential, and game-changing. And that philosophy of perfection over publicity has defined the family ever since. Over decades, the Schaefflers quietly expanded their reach across the automotive and industrial sectors. Their components became core to brands like BMW, Audi, and Volkswagen. But the real turning point came in 2008 when the world economy was spiraling. While most companies pulled back, the Schaefflers made a daring move. They launched a takeover bid for Continental AG, one of the largest automotive parts suppliers in the world. The acquisition, worth more than $15 billion, was bold, risky, and controversial, but it worked. The merger transformed Schaeffler Group from a powerful component maker into a worldwide industrial giant. Today, with over 83,000 employees and operations in more than 50 countries, their reach is vast. Yet, their public presence remains minimal by design. Rather than pursue headlines, the family focused on turning toward the future. As the world moves from combustion engines to electric mobility, the Schaeffler Group has positioned itself at the heart of that transformation. Their electric vehicle division now supplies essential components like e-axles, hybrid modules, and thermal management systems. Pieces that most drivers will never see, but which are critical to performance and sustainability. And it is not just automotive. The Schaefflers have expanded into aerospace, robotics, wind energy, and smart factories. Their ability to anticipate industry shifts and quietly engineer the parts needed to meet them has kept them ahead of the market, even as competitors scramble to catch up. Schaeffler keeps leading discreetly, efficiently, and reliably. What makes their empire so compelling is not just its size, but its invisibility. In a world where wealth is often measured by visibility, the Schaeffler family built their fortune behind the closed doors of factories. Their story is not one of celebrity or showmanship. It is one of precision, foresight, and quiet dominance, the kind of empire that moves the world without ever needing the spotlight. The Porsche-Piëch Dynasty, Empire of Machines. The House of Porsche-Piëch does more than manufacture vehicles, it designs power. The dynasty goes back to Ferdinand Porsche, designer of the original Volkswagen Beetle, and his son-in-law Anton Piëch, a lawyer who understood that patents could be more powerful than pistons. From that marriage emerged a bloodline that now commands an empire of machines: Porsche, Audi, Lamborghini, Bentley, Bugatti, Ducati, Scania, and above all, Volkswagen itself. Their headquarters in Stuttgart resembles a museum of steel and glass, yet what happens inside feels closer to high-stakes chess. Every board seat, every voting share, every trademark is planned generations in advance. The family's holding company, Porsche SE, owns the decisive voting bloc in Volkswagen Group, a conglomerate producing 10 million vehicles a year. Estimates place the dynasty's combined assets north of $55 billion, but the true value lies in leverage. One conference call from this clan can sway national employment figures and European Union emissions policy in the same breath. Their boldest move came in 2008 while hedge funds shorted Volkswagen stock. Ferdinand Ferry Porsche and his cousin Wolfgang Porsche orchestrated a stealth derivatives campaign to acquire options on 74% of Volkswagen's float. When the position became public, panic buying pushed Volkswagen into the world's most valuable company overnight, briefly worth more than ExxonMobil. Funds that had bet against the stock lost billions. Some never recovered. The press described it as a coup. Insiders saw it as a masterclass. Yet victory came with risk. German regulators probed, politicians fumed, and the financial strain almost toppled Porsche AG itself. In a twist only the Porsche-Piëch brain trust could script, Volkswagen turned around and absorbed Porsche's car-making arm, but the family kept controlling votes through Porsche SE. They lost a unit, yet tightened their grip on the entire empire. A corporate Mobius strip that still confounds analysts. Today, while rivals chase attention with electric prototypes and Super Bowl ads, the dynasty prefers quiet rewiring. Billions flow into solid-state batteries, autonomous software, and synthetic e-fuels. Porsche's Taycan outsells the 911, Audi's e-tron factories hum, and Volkswagen's Trinity platform is designed to overtake Tesla in cost per kilowatt. Politicians in Berlin and Brussels consult Porsche-Piëch descendants before drafting mobility law, knowing legacy plants and hundreds of thousands of jobs hinge on their nod. Family members seldom grant interviews. When they do, answers are measured, almost engineered themselves. Portraits in company corridors depict ancestors in driving goggles flanked by blueprints. The message is obvious: celebrity fades, work remains. Comment engineered empire if you realize the sports car badge on your keychain is part of a dynasty that did not just surpass the Rothschild, it reshaped history to its own specifications. While the Rothschilds remain legendary, these German dynasties have mastered something even more powerful than fame: control without noise. They do not pursue headlines. They create industries, influence policies, and shape entire economies from the shadows. Whether it is the stealth precision of the Schaefflers or the empire-spanning dominance of the Porsche-Piëch family, each name redefines what real power looks like. The richest family is not the loudest. It is the one quietly guiding the world, like what you have just discovered.